The story begins in the year 1846. The era of pirates in the Caribbean is breathing its last, and all that's left are the most ruthless of them. We see a pirate ship attacking a primitive fishing boat. As soon as the ship's captain hears gunfire, he immediately prepares his weapon, but the pirates have already brutally killed most of his men. They capture the captain. That's when their reckless leader, Connor, arrives. He talks to Borden and tells him he's been sailing the seas for years, searching for gold that was stolen from him long ago. Finding a gold piece on Borden stamped with his mark, he asks him exactly where he got it. Connor's naval officer, Lee, informs him that this fishing boat set sail from the port of Cayman Brac Island. They conclude the gold must be there and decide to head for the sought-after island. The pirate leader orders the execution of the entire ship's crew, sparing only Borden. Exactly 6 days later, on the island, we see people living in peace and prosperity. They've built a small church where the priest gathers them, and they keep praying for Borden and his crew to return safely. Borden's wife, whose name is Arsal, keeps scanning the sea with her telescope, but notices her husband hasn't returned yet. Back at the house, we see Borden's younger sister, named Lizzie. Her lover, Weston, comes in through the window and asks her, "Have you thought about our plan yet? We understand he wants to take her away by boat, escaping the island forever." Anyway, at that moment, our heroine Arsal arrives home. As soon as she opens the front door, she rattles some hanging bottles she had set up. Her son, who has a leg disability and is named Jack, realizes she's back. But Arsal runs to the kitchen first because Lizzie left food on the stove. Then she goes to check on her son and finds him counting the days, eagerly waiting for his father to return. We learn then that Borden has been at sea for 59 days, and tomorrow is Jack's birthday. His father promised he would be there. Arsal reassures him he'll arrive in time. She goes to knock on Lizzie's door, from which Weston naturally hurriedly escaped, especially since Arsal doesn't approve of her relationship with this boy. From their conversation, we understand Lizzie dislikes the idea of living on the island forever and wants a life of her own, unlike Arsal, who sees the island as the most beautiful place on earth. Anyway, she prepares the food and the three of them sit down to eat, praying for the ship to return home safely. When night falls, Arsal sits with her son and tells him his father left him a birthday gift in case he was delayed. It's a magnificent dagger for Jack to learn with. At that moment, Weston is standing on the shore waiting for Lizzie to escape together as planned. But he's surprised by a pirate scout boat approaching. A scout and two others get off and kill him instantly. As soon as day breaks, Arsal hears strange noises. Worried, she gets up to check on Lizzie but doesn't find her. Before closing the window, she spots the scout in front of the house. She immediately runs to wake her son and hides him in a crawl space under the house until she figures out what's going on. She quickly prepares her rifle by the door, ready to kill anyone who comes through. But she's surprised when they jump in from the roof, and one of them tackles her to the ground. She fights back and tries everything to escape, but they catch her. The scout enters, realizing she is Borden's wife, and asks her where their money is. She points to a picture, as they hide their money behind it. The scout indeed finds the money, but is annoyed not to find the gold. Arsal tries to explain that this is all they have, but of course he doesn't believe her. The other man throws her forcefully to the ground. The scout then places Connor's gold coin in front of her and asks where the rest of the coins like it are. It's clear our heroine is shocked to see this coin. She asks who they are, but the scout ignores her and orders his two men to break her bones until she confesses where the gold is. He leaves them and goes out. Meanwhile, Connor has arrived on the shore. They encounter the island's governor, who informs him this is a British colony and demands he identify himself. Connor explains he's just a sailor looking to rest a while. Lizzie reaches the shore to find her lover, but is horrified to discover him stabbed and thrown aside. At the same time, the priest, noticing Connor and the governor talking, grows worried and is even more shocked to see the pirate ship in the distance, sending 3 boats full of men. He immediately makes the terrified villagers hide inside the church. When the governor hears Connor's name, he remembers he's a criminal wanted by the entire British Empire and orders him to have his men stop rowing and leave the island immediately. When he refuses, the governor has his men prepare the cannon and weapons to resist the impending invasion. The problem, however, is that a pirate sniper kills the cannon operator, and Connor shoots the governor as well. Our heroine, meanwhile, is in trouble. The men tie a rope around her neck. As she keeps asking about her husband, they don't answer, until they hear her son's voice and realize he's hiding under the house. At that moment, Arsal transforms completely. She instantly frees herself and viciously attacks and fights both men, eventually reaching the dagger and managing to wound one repeatedly. Even though there were 2 men and she was a woman alone, Arsal finished them off. On the other side, Connor was likewise busy killing everyone who appeared before him. And of course, Connor is an experienced pirate, and no one can stand up to him at all. When he finds the governor trying to fire the cannon, he stops him at the last moment. Finally, the 3 pirate boats reach the island's shore. Lee says to Connor, couldn't you have left something for us to help with? But Connor didn't need help. He has already taken control of the island. The governor then challenges him, warning that the English Navy rules these shores and will surely come to destroy him and his men. But Connor mocks him and asks where the island's distress signal is located. The governor laughs, refusing to tell him, of course. But Connor, knowing there are people inside the church, orders Lee to aim the cannon at the church to destroy it completely. Fearing for the innocent villagers, the governor confesses that the signal beacon is located on the island's cliff top. Connor then assures everyone he won't hurt anyone if they cooperate, but the governor, who defied him, is a different matter. Under the gaze of a hidden Lizzie, Connor hits him with a cannonball, killing him most brutally. His scout then arrives and informs him they've captured Borden's wife and left his 2 men with her. But of course, our heroine has already killed those 2. She goes home, gets her rifle, and brings her son out of hiding. Her son is scared of her because she's covered in blood. He also notices the gold bar lying on the floor and sees it. Suddenly, they hear a sound outside. Arsal immediately prepares, but it's the priest. She lets him in quickly and gives him the rifle while she cleans the blood off herself. The priest tells her it seems her past is coming back to haunt her. Arsal can hardly believe it and wants to see for herself. The priest reminds her that she's the only one on the island who can help them. He calls her by the title Captain, but she's annoyed and asks him never to call her that again. Jack gives her a note from Lizzie, from which she understands that Lizzie planned to run away with her lover, Weston. Arsal then pulls Jack's dagger from the dead man's head and hands it to him. She asks the priest to take her son and move via a specific route while she finds Lizzie and joins them immediately. Meanwhile, Lizzie is running through the fields, terrified by everything she's witnessed. Arsal finds her and immediately covers her mouth, pulling her along. Lizzie is somewhat relieved to see her and tells her that her lover, Weston, was killed. The pirate Lee enters Arsal's house and sees the 2 brutally killed bodies. He looks towards Connor and they confirm Arsal did this. They go outside and see Jack's wheelchair tracks, deciding to follow them. Our heroine and Lizzie have now reached Jack and the priest. Arsal reveals a small boat she had hidden to quietly get her son and Lizzie across the Crocodile Lake. She asks the priest to come with her afterwards, but he refuses. She says goodbye and moves quickly, especially since Connor and his men have arrived. We learn then that the priest used to be a pirate, but had repented. Connor recognizes him and asks where Arsal is. Meanwhile, Arsal tells her sister to take Jack and head towards the cliff, to be very careful until she returns to them. She positions herself in a tree to watch the priest and sees what happens. She sees Connor shoot him in the leg and he falls to the ground. But when she sees Connor's face, she's shocked, as if seeing a ghost from the past. The men then spot her in the tree and immediately open fire. She falls to the ground and tries to get away as best she can. The priest on the other side manages to kill one of the pirates, but Connor kills him instantly. Connor orders his men to cross the Crocodile Lake and capture the Viper. Indeed, a few men enter the crocodile-infested lake. One dies, allowing the others to cross safely and pursue Arsal, who is hiding in the forest trying to scatter them as much as possible, especially since Lizzie and Jack are nearby, and she doesn't want them harmed. When she sees 2 appear before her, she attacks them with ferocious strength, using her distinctive knife to skillfully, and without hesitation, finish them off. Connor then stands on the other side and calls out to Arsal, asking, "Does the family you've built know your true identity?" Strangely, he calls her by the name Mary. Our heroine responds by throwing the head of one of his men she killed at him. Connor then tells her he's holding her husband captive on his ship. He demands she come to a hut at night with his gold, in exchange for freeing her husband. Otherwise, he'll throw her husband's head at her feet too. Arsal is forced to respond and agree to the deal. She then takes Lizzie and Jack, and they quickly move from the spot, eventually reaching an old cave and going inside. Strangely, this cave has another completely secret cave beneath it. Arsal takes them down into it to prepare and ensure their safety. Naturally, Lizzie wants to understand who this man is and how Arsal can fight with such skill. Arsal tells her that Connor used to work as an investor for an old East Indian company and was a ruthless pirate with no concept of mercy. Meanwhile, Lee informs one of his soldiers that Arsal is not someone to be underestimated. She was once a pirate herself and even commanded a ship alongside Connor, until she stabbed him, took the gold, and vanished forever. Arsal tells the rest of the story to Lizzie. We discover that Arsal was an ordinary girl living with her family on a ship. Pirates attacked, killed her family, and took her captive when she was 12 years old. Lizzie understands then that Arsal was raised and lived on a pirate ship, eventually becoming one of them, especially after being forced to kill and commit many brutal acts. She has Lizzie help her unearth a specific chest from underground, which is full of gold bars bearing Connor's mark. She explains that the gold was meant to stay buried until she died, but now it's time for them to know the truth. Arsal reveals many weapons and bombs stored in the place and explains to Lizzie that this is the only way to confront Connor. Meanwhile, Connor is sitting smoking his pipe, thinking. His naval officer Lee approaches and says, "We came here for the gold, not for revenge." But it's clear Connor has held a deep grudge ever since Arsal escaped from him. Later, Arsal prepares the gold chest, coating it with fuel so she can explode it at the right moment and gets completely ready. She opens another chest containing her armor and begins arming herself with various bombs and weapons to take revenge on the pirates. First, however, she takes her son to the shore and shows him her escape boat. She asks him to prepare it until she returns with his father. When night falls, a pirate harasses Arsal's husband, Borden. Borden headbutts him, knocking him down. Before the pirate can strike back, Connor intervenes and sends him away. Connor then, knowing Arsal has told him her whole story, taunts Borden, telling him Arsal lived with him for half her life and they were like husband and wife. Meanwhile, Lizzie and Jack are looking through Arsal's old notebooks and find a wanted poster for her, wanted for justice under the name Bloody Mary. Our heroine emerges from a well near the hut. She rigs the entire area with bombs connected by ropes to her hands. She begins silently eliminating the guards one by one without being detected. She suffocates one and stabs him in the heart, ending his life instantly. She sets something on fire inside the house to create smoke, and as soon as another man appears before her, she kills him immediately. Finally, she reaches her husband, who is bound with multiple chains. She reassures him that their son and Lizzie are safe inside the caves. The problem is, she can't fully free him because only Connor has the keys to the chains. She tells him she has to go through with the deal to keep him alive and quickly disappears. She stands by the well carrying the gold chest and threatens to throw it in. When one of the men moves towards her, she blows him up instantly without warning. Connor then appears and orders the remaining men to bring Borden to complete the deal. But he keeps taunting Arsal, saying, "Bloody Mary? Married to a fisherman? Living a quiet life?" Our heroine, however, doesn't let him get to her. She throws the gold chest in front of them so they will free her husband and leave the island. Although Connor does indeed release him, he tells her she must pay for her past betrayal. He reminds her that he taught her all the skills she now possesses and made her a strong woman, and in return, she stabbed him, stole his gold, and ran away. She replies that she's sorry she didn't stab him in the heart and finish him off back then. When Borden senses Connor intends to betray them, he grabs a dagger and immediately tries to attack him. Arsal helps him, exploding a few bombs to drive the other men back, draws a pistol, and begins mercilessly killing everyone. Borden grabs a sword and fights Connor ferociously, but Connor is much stronger. He manages to disarm Borden, knock him to the ground, and holds the sword to his heart. Arsal is terrified. She throws down her sword to save her husband's life, assuring Connor she'll do whatever he says. But Connor refuses and plunges the sword into Borden's heart. As Arsal tries to go to him, she's shot in the leg and falls to the ground. With tears in her eyes, she bids her husband a final farewell, as she loved him deeply. But she quickly retreats towards the well, grabs a sword, and tries to attack Connor, but fails. The stubborn Connor easily disarms her. He tells her the gold was only ever for his crew, but he came here to turn her in and collect the bounty on her head. At that moment, Arsal ignites the rope connected to the gold chest and jumps into the well, causing the chest to explode, destroying the entire place and the gold with it. Arsal begins to remember her happy moments with Borden, deeply saddened by his death, especially since he gave her a new, peaceful life she never dared to dream of. When she reaches Lizzie and Jack, she collapses to the ground, unconscious from exhaustion. Gladio is devastated because his son died in the explosion and the gold is gone. He yells at Connor, telling him they lost everything because of his obsession with Bloody Mary. He orders his men to gather the bodies for a proper burial, but Connor refuses and stops them. Lee challenges him, declaring this expedition over and that they must leave now. Connor then draws his pistol, fires a shot into the air, and declares Lee a mutineer. When Lee tries to confront him, Connor shoots and kills him instantly. He stands before the remaining pirates and tells them the naval officer didn't understand the true value of Bloody Mary. He explains that they've lived their whole lives as fugitive criminals, never able to settle, but the bounty on Mary's head will give them their freedom. He produces a proclamation from 3 different empires, all 3 literally demanding her head. In exchange, they will receive their freedom, and all their crimes will be erased. This speech, of course, ignites the pirates' enthusiasm, making them ready to do anything to finally have a better life. Meanwhile, our heroine wakes up. Lizzie quickly stitches her leg wound. Arsal apologizes to her for not being able to save Borden, who sadly died. She then prepares herself and tells them they must reach the cliff and activate the distress signal by sunrise. She reiterates that she won't leave here until she kills Connor, because no matter where she runs, he will follow her to the ends of the earth. At that moment, the pirate scout discovers the cave's location. Connor orders his men to capture or kill the Viper. Arsal, meanwhile, is telling her son to prepare the boat and move off immediately if the pirates reach them, leaving Lizzie with him. She goes out to face them. She indeed sees them enter the main cave first and is ready for them from a distance. As soon as they open the hidden lower cave, she opens fire on them with ferocious intensity, having set multiple bomb traps to overcome their overwhelming numerical advantage. Despite wave after wave of men trying, our heroine knows these caves by heart, giving her the advantage to pick them off calmly, and no one can stand against her. The problem is the scout reaches Lizzie and Jack and tries to break down the door. Lizzie sees her lover's necklace around his neck and realizes he's the one who killed him. She tells Jack to run quickly to the boat. The scout bursts in, knocks her to the ground, and tells her he'll kill her just like he killed her lover. But she pulls the cord on a crossbow, shooting an arrow that pins him to the wall. She takes the necklace from his neck, devastated, and leaves him to die as she walks away. On the other side, Arsal has fully reclaimed the persona of Bloody Mary and is ruthlessly slaughtering everyone. Anyone who gets close meets only certain death. Lizzie reaches the shore and sees that Jack has finally gotten the boat and moved off. He points towards the cliff, where he has activated the distress signal. When Arsal reaches the top of the cliff, she finds Connor standing there. He is the one who activated the signal. When she asks why, he explains he doesn't care if the authorities come. At least they'll capture her and grant him his freedom. The two prepare their sharp weapons for the final fight, standing on a very high precipice from which a fall would mean certain death. The fight between them begins. They wound each other violently and brutally. It's clear they know each other's moves perfectly, having trained together for many long years. But our heroine, weakened by her injury, is at a slight disadvantage. Connor exploits this, stabbing her in her existing leg wound to weaken her further and raining down blows, demanding she surrender. She refuses. They continue fighting to their last breath until she falls to the ground, seemingly facing her end. Indeed, Connor prepares to run her through with his sword, but suddenly, Lizzie appears behind him and shoots him in the shoulder, distracting him. Arsal rises with her sword and attacks him, finally delivering the final blow to his heart, killing him and finding peace at last. Lizzie immediately helps her, as she is wounded and utterly devastated after the fierce battles she endured. They both look towards young Jack's boat and discover the real gold was hidden on that boat. Arsal managed to deceive the pirates and ultimately triumph over them, and that's where the movie ends.